Welcome back to the Southern State Showcase. I'm John Nelson alongside Maria Taylor. We'll catch up with Maria in just a second. But next up, let's go to New Orleans, where I had a chance to visit the campus of Loyola University. And we all know the story of the devastation from Hurricane Katrina. And 5 years after, the city and Loyola have rebuilt and come out on the other side. Anchored in the heart of uptown New Orleans, nestled among stately mansions and rattling streetcars, is Loyola University New Orleans. Founded in 1904 by the Society of Jesus, more commonly known as the Jesuits, Loyola has grown from a single building, Marquette Hall, to a sprawling urban campus. Over the last 100 years, the school has enjoyed a history as rich and colorful as the city itself, producing a host of civic leaders, world-class entertainers, and public servants. Loyola, one of 28 Jesuit colleges and universities in the United States, is renowned for its well-rounded, value-centered education with a commitment to lifelong learning, social justice, and service to the community. And through all of this growth, they've done it hand in hand with their next-door neighbor, Tulane University. You might think that your neighbor may be trying to outdo you, but that's not the case here at all.
It's been outstanding. You know, it's literally separated by a page fence, and it's been like that for a long time. I know in my 7 years we've had a great relationship with Rick Dixon and his staff, sharing facilities. I know we do a lot of education correspondence together, different programs they'll share. I think it's great. A lot of our students go over there and eat, and a lot of their students come over here and eat, and that's sort of been a little rub lately, particularly when their football team comes. But I think it's a great relationship. Our annual basketball game is a great community gathering for Loyola. Brings a lot of alums back. Our fans love it. Our students love it. And I don't think any situation in the country could happen except maybe right here with Tulane and Loyola.
And it seems like yesterday that the entire Gulf Coast was getting forever bruised and battered by Hurricane Katrina. Point of fact, it's been over 5 years. Taking New Orleans as the example, some parts of town have recovered, some are still in the process of recovering, and some parts may never recover. And you could be talking about parts of town literally right next to each other. The response is different from house to house. Loyola's athletes are still feeling the after effects and remember it like yesterday.
The worst part was definitely when we evacuated and we were at a hotel in Tunica, Mississippi, and flipping on the TV that Tuesday morning, I think it was, and just seeing a disaster and actually realizing that my house was underwater and I wasn't going to have anything that I had before the hurricane. Just my life was just completely changed. And I guess I didn't realize it fully then, but it was just, I knew something happened and it wasn't good.
I moved to Baton Rouge for the storm. There was 8 of us and a dog living in a 2-bedroom. My dad stayed behind, but you know, the hurricane came and we did have damage to our house. So for a while I was living with some of my friends in Covington. Couldn't return back to my house because it was too damaged. Eventually I did get to move back, and from the storm, that's where I met some of my closest friends, but we eventually got through it all.
Sometimes you don't have to be from here to feel here. Ashley Abendschein is a Texan by birth and visited New Orleans as a 15-year-old. She visited right after the storm and has felt the pull ever since. Her passion on the volleyball courts for the Pack are surpassed only by her thoughts on Nola's rebound.
Katrina, I remember just watching TV and specifically the Superdome and what was going on in there. I remember seeing that and just, I was baffled. I mean, I couldn't understand. And when I came through, I went to the French court and it wasn't that bad. And I thought it was, oh, this is so great, you know. I don't see, it's not that bad. And then we went through the Mississippi coast and it was just destroyed. There was absolutely nothing. And that was really shocking to me. And just people, I guess, talking to people on how connected they are to the city and how, I mean, they'd moved, each of my friends, I've talked to them about it and why they came back, because everything was taken away and yet they still came back because they have this draw to the city, and I feel that, like I can feel their passion for the city, and I think that's amazing.
Personally, I was fortunate, you know, my personal damage was very minimum. But my family, my immediate family, my parents, my brothers, my sisters, cousins, all the majority of them lived in Lakeview and lost everything. and it was very devastating. The house is no longer there. They've been bulldozed. A lot of my family's moved to Baton Rouge. One's moved to Houston. And it's tough, you know, to pass by Oregon and Chappelle and not see your home that you grew up in.
Loyola knows they're still on the comeback trail, but if you ask Giorlando, he knows there's more done by looking forward than by checking over your shoulder.
As our new mayor says, you know, it's not time. It's time now to move to the next level and to make New Orleans what it needs to be. And so that's where Loyola fits in. You know, our president and cabinet made some tough decisions after Katrina, and enrollment's rebounding. Sal Liberto, our vice president of enrollment, is doing a fantastic job, and if the trend can happen for another couple of years, we'll be back to those pre-Katrina numbers, and things will be pretty good for Loyola.
And that's really just scratching the surface of all the stories down in New Orleans and Loyola. We're going to have more stories from Loyola as the showcase continues in the next couple of weeks.
But what impressed me most about your story was the fact that they have so much pride in their university and even more pride in their city, and the idea that they want to rebuild it, be a part of that community, you know?
Yeah, and you're talking about people who attend Loyola from the state of Louisiana. That's one level of pride. And then you see the athletes that come in from outside Louisiana who are a part of the Loyola family, and they just get wrapped up in it also. So you see all of these different angles coming, and you see a great deal of pride from a lot of different directions.
And what an instant foundation you have for your university right there. I mean, that's one thing that everyone can bond over no matter where they come from, their background, their race, their origin, you know?
That's 100 years of Loyola pride, and they're looking for 100 more. Once again, we'll have more stories from Loyola as we continue along here in the showcase. We're going to take a look at the latest standings when we come back, but first, it's your final installment of the Honor Roll for the SSAC as the showcase continues.